مسيحيون طرقوا باب مسلم بالغلط، فكان ذلك أحسن غلط قاموا به في حياتهم. انتشار الإسلام بين الأجانب.
And I don't know if you ever read a Quran, and if you would like one, I can give you one. If not, you can check them online. I know it's against your rules to take anything, so I'm not going to pressure you. But you know, a book without contradictions, a book that's been preserved, memorized. For example, even though JWs, you guys do an amazing job of studying the Bible, I don't know if you know anybody that's actually memorized it word by word, letter by letter.
Right? I'm sure they're out there, but
they're not, because
I can't do it.
I have traveled across the world, and I just had a discussion with a PhD Chinese pastor as well in Dubai. I challenged them. I said, show me just one person from any denomination, Catholic, Christian, JW, Mormon, that has memorized even the New Testament, forget about the Old Testament, in Koine Greek. None. Right? But we as Muslims, even we have our children, 7-year-old, 10-year-old, they memorize the entire Quran. From the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, till our time. One after the other, one after the other, every generation, right?
عيسى عليه السلام نبي مثل جميع الأنبياء. استمع إلى جواب الرجل الشاب.
As a Muslim, I would believe that yes, he is a prophet of God, as David was a prophet of God, as Moses and Abraham and to me, Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon all of them, are prophets of God, but none of them are God, and none of them are physically children of God. What do you think about that? Does that make sense?
Well, one thing I would say that I really appreciate, and I want to let my partner
You can both speak. You're doing great.
One of the things that I really appreciate is that having that respect for God as being above.
Great.
Because that's one of the things that has always really made me scratch my head when I do talk with other Christians and stuff like that. Is like Jesus specifically in his, not only in his words, but in his demeanor, in all of those things, he represented himself as a worker for God.
Exactly. That's amazing.
Yeah,
he's sent by God. Repeatedly, he says the Father's greater than I. But Christians will say they're co-equal coexistence. And I think you as Jehovah's Witness, you would disagree with that, right?
Definitely.
You don't believe Jesus is equal to God. You don't believe he's coexistent. He was created. And then he brought a message. He worked for God. He spread a beautiful message. He set a beautiful example. We love him. We believe he was a great example for humanity, as Moses, as Abraham, as Muhammad, peace be upon all of them, right? But when Christians start worshiping Jesus, we say, why not worship Jehovah, the one that Jesus worshipped?
And that's another amazing point. Yeah. Oftentimes, you know, Jesus specifically said you pray to one God.
Right.
And so any idea of praying to Jesus or to saints and stuff like that.
And you guys are almost Muslim. You're almost there, right?
الرجل الأكبر عمرا يسأل عن معنى كلمة الله، فلم يتردد الرجل المسلم وقام بإعطائه شرح وتفسير واضح.
And what does the word Allah mean?
Exactly. So it's very interesting. Good question. Al means a definitive, mean the only, and Ilah is anything that can be worshipped. So Al-Ilah means the only one that can be worshipped, the only one that deserves to be worshipped, the only one worthy of worship. There is no other deity that should be worshipped. Not Jesus, not Muhammad, not idols, no saints, no Saint Peter, no Saint Paul. The only one that can be worshipped is that creator. And that's in Arabic, right? But again, we know that messengers were sent speaking different languages. Like Abraham, obviously, he didn't speak Arabic, he didn't speak even Hebrew. You know, he's not from the Aramaic people. Later, right, from Jacob onwards, and you will see the people in Levant, Moses speaking Hebrew, right? So he's going to refer to God in his language. Jesus speaking Aramaic is going to refer to God in his language, right?
Or you can even go back to the confusion of the languages at like the Tower of Babel.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and then you could go to Adam, right? You could go to Eve. You could go to exactly. And that's the funny thing when you get these evangelicals, Jesus, Jesus, and you tell them that's not even his name, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you look at his mom didn't name him, then I understand that it's through Greek and Latin and English and it's been translated, and I'm not criticizing, but when people get so freaked out, but they don't even know how did Jesus pray. You know, for example, in the Bible, and you guys are well versed, Jesus put his forehead on the ground and prayed to God, right? He bowed, he put his forehead. We do that as Muslims, right? We stick very closely to the way of the prophets. We don't innovate. For example, we don't celebrate Christmas. We don't celebrate the birth of the Prophet Muhammad. Why? Because they didn't teach us that. But now, except you guys, so I'm giving you some credit. Every Christian church that I went to, and I went to, as I said, I've been to almost every type, they celebrate Christmas. They have Santa Claus. What does Santa Claus do with Jesus? Gifts and reindeer and eggnog, all this pagan Saturnalia stuff, right? Easter and the bunny. Where did the bunny come from? You know, look at the history behind it, and you realize this: the church had corrupted all of this, right? But